Hello everybody and welcome back to another video of Heroes of the Storm. Today we're going to be playing some Imperius in our How to Bruise series. Pulling up the list here, you'll see that I have Imperius in the damage tanky category, meaning he can tank a lot of hits and he can deal a lot of damage, but he really lacks wave clear. And this is a theme that for the most part is true to his kit throughout the whole entire portion of the game. At level 7, you can pick a talent for Imperius that increases his wave clear slightly, but it's still so bad compared to these other bruisers on this list. So why would you want Imperius over something like a Chen, Artanis, or Smash Varian? Well, the thing that sets Imperius apart is his hard crowd control. In my opinion, Imperius can play as a main tank. He's not as good as other tanks, but he has the kit and capabilities to play as a main tank, such as high self-sustain and tankiness. But the big factor is he has a hard crowd control with a stun. So this is great at following up on your allies and allowing you to set up ganks. So that's really what separates this hero apart from other ones, is his Q. And truthfully, that's what's going to make a good Imperius and a bad Imperius, is someone who's landing their Q. If you are unable to land this ability, you will significantly hurt yourself and your team and become relatively useless in the game. However, if you're able to make a good engage or follow up with this ability, your team will be praising you like no other and you will carry and stomp video games. Anyways, that's enough for this. We're going to go ahead and hop into the game and hopefully have some fun. Alright, and we find ourselves on the Battlefield of Eternity today, which is a pretty good map for Imperius because it has less lanes that I have to soak, which means, you know, our weakness gets lowered by that little bit of less priority that I have to be doing. Talking about our skinergy here, I have this skin on. I forget the name of it, but it reminds me of Iron Man, and it's the coolest one in my opinion, other than I do really like the demon skins, but I don't own those ones. And then I go with this this tombstone because it's actually one of my favorite mounts that I didn't realize was so cool. You got a little thing that follows behind you, and it looks very interesting, and it's a lot of fun. As always, we'll talk about the builds and talents at the end of the video, so stay tuned for that. We'll go more in depth about how to build this hero. And you'll notice me starting in the bottom lane, which is something you really don't see on really any other bruiser on my list. The reasoning for this is you want to be in the lane with the most heroes, or you can be in the lane with the most heroes whenever you play Imperius. I see 3 in the top lane, so I think this is where I'm going to head on over to. Check if my ally gets tongued here. We're going to make sure that we're helping them out as best as possible, but it does look like my ally will die, and we'll just have to sit here to soak the XP for her. So, Imperius has a mana problem. It's a big mana problem, too. Not just like, oh, you know, you can spam your spells a little bit. You have to be super cautious about when you use your spells. Now, with there being 3 heroes here, we're just going to play back and play it cool. Our buildings will lose health, but it's better than us dying and losing XP. I see 2 allies are rotating in towards me. I really wanted to land that ability to follow up on my allies there. The issue is whenever you land your stun, you're going to be at a significant disadvantage for a moment because allies are then able to point and click land stuns on you. Imperius is a fantastic ganker, so you'll see me heading down here. And if I can land a Q on their Imperius, he will surely die. There we go. Big auto attacks on him will help me get the pick on my brother. And we'll pick up this regen globe so we can rotate top lane, looking for, once again, another pick, as top lane has been getting absolutely pummeled. Hopefully, with the help of my Ragnaros, we'll be able to get a pick on one of the squishy heroes, looking for a, looking for that Junkrat, if at all possible. We're going to have to base because we're so low on mana, although I need to save my ally, too, and we have a gank from my, Muradin, which will help us out a little bit. Oh, do I have to stay here and fight? Because some of the enemies were a little bit low in the back line. Such a super tanky enemy team, which does make my life a little bit harder. We'll land something on the Dahaka here, just trying to auto-attack in to get the kill, but unfortunately he has a lot of healing. I'll stun the Imperius once again, proving my dominance, and now we're going to have to run away because we are so low on mana and need to recover that for the objective push here. Very weird laning phase, but it worked out fine because we're playing Imperius and we're so good at ganking. We were able to get ourselves 2 kills there to start off the match and hopefully help us keep this level lead. Whenever you're playing bruisers such as Imperius or other bruisers that deal damage, you're often looking to do ganky things a lot more often, and that's how you're going to make up for that XP that you can't get from soaking waves quickly. With 2 enemy heroes here, I am a little bit afraid to engage. Especially whenever I'm bad and miss all my skill shots. I do see allies rotating in though, so I'm going to continue this pressure if at all possible. Trying to bait these enemies forward, but doesn't look like we'll quite be able to get anything done there. And now, I have my tap up. Despite us being low in HP, we actually heal a decent bit off of landing all of our abilities, as long as I can land all of my abilities. See if I can't maybe follow up on an ally's stuns. We'll land something here. Oh no, barely caught in that immortal stun, which will probably end up costing me my life. So we're just going to try to buy some time for my team by dodging out as many skill shots as possible. And then maybe landing some good damage out here on the Junkrat, which actually is going to keep me alive for at least a moment longer. I'm really just playing get out of jail right now. Maybe we get enough damage out here quickly to finish off the... Ooh, Nubarak, not quite able to, but we're buying time for my allies, so... Really not the end of the world. And you can see the self-healing that we've been able to accumulate has been really good for us. Immortal is falling low enough, and I feel good enough that I can base now. And go to whichever lane I need with a healthy HP bar. Looks like it will be this this top or bottom lane that we're going to need to head on down to. And the reasoning for me coming to this lane is because we're so good at enabling our allies to get kills by landing stuns and other things of that sort that we want to be in this in the team fight as often as possible. Hopefully my allies don't get tongued here, as that could be really quite brutal for us. I do miss my ability on the Dahaka, unfortunately. Trying to get as many auto attacks out here as possible, but we are slowed heftily currently. Maybe I can land something here on the Imperius. There's a big stun, and we'll hit him with an auto attack, which does a splash damage due to our talents, allowing us to really crit him down and keep ourselves healthy and him hurt. During this whole time, Zagara's done a fantastic job of picking up the slack in the top lane. Had she not been, I would be rotating there now to pick up the slack for her. But she's, like I said, done a great job. So we're going to go ahead and base. And you'll notice we're basing a lot. This is for multiple reasons. One, we don't have a healer, so we want to be staying healthy. And two, any opportunity where it's kind of like dead time and you can base is a great time to base because of how bad we are at controlling our mana bar. Would like to look for another little stun lock on this enemy team. Oh, barely not enough damage out there to kill the Junkrat player, and I get bean boozled by the Imperius, allowing him to survive. I see my ally is in danger in the top lane, so we're going to ping that we're on our way to help her out. But it does look like we will probably lose the building due to this endless onslaught that red team's able to put on. So Imperius is really good at dealing high amount of damage to squishy targets. We can actually one-shot a lot of heroes, and that's whenever we hit level 20, which is Imperius's biggest power spike. We'll stick around here to pick up this slack on the XP. We see some allies, so if the enemy teams step forward to fight me and my allies can land a stun or two, it could be very good. We'll follow this up with a stun, and unfortunately, Dahaka, being super strong, is able to walk out of there no problemo. I want to make sure that there's nobody on this camp up here. Thankfully, there is not. So we'll head down to the bottom lane now, because we are very bad at taking mercenary camps. Anything related to minions, we are bad at. Anything related to heroes, we are good at. For the most part, that is. Land a double stun out on these enemies here. Maybe once more. We'll land it because we got good cooldown reduction. I want to be catching at least one of these heroes. I don't want to kill my ally, though. Landing, once again, more stunnage on these enemies and really spamming out our spells. I think we can maybe get another kill here if the allies are pushing forward. So there we go. Big stun, big crit, and there is another kill we're able to pick up. And you see we're playing very similar to like a Smash Varian in that fact that we can pummel down enemies and deal large crit damage to them. But we also have that hard lockdown. So it's like Smash variant and Taunt variant were mixed together, and instead of being point and click, you now have this spear that you have to land. And if you miss that spear, you are significantly worse off as a hero. You even have Melting Point at level 16, which allows you to reduce the armor by 25% on enemy heroes. That's awkward. Uh-oh, that's very awkward. Missing your abilities, you become so, not useless, but significantly less good at the video game whenever you do that. Give him a little spray as we just played Hopsy Doodle. Soak up some minion here, because we're close enough, but you can, and this is just going to showcase you how bad we are at doing it. This is my whole kit, and we just barely damaged it. That's all we really did. Rotate in now that we have my ultimate ability, and maybe look for something out here on this Nazebo. Of course he sidesteps, and he doesn't even sidestep to safety. He sidestepped into us. See if we can't get on him, though. Unfortunately, missing that that ult is bad, but we're able to pick up a kill regardless. We should be able to walk out of here as long as I don't get stunned by anything else. I need to be cautious about my mana bar. I really wanted to land that stun on the Dahaka. That would have been big for us, but now it's just Operation Get Out with my life. I'll activate my E if I have enough mana to do so. Maybe we'll just send a slow for my allies. We got the objective very low, but not low enough to get a kill, and now I need to soak these minions in the bottom lane because that's all I have currently. Oh my gosh. I need to soak them first, and then I can go elsewhere on the map. So you can go and fight in minion waves even at 1 HP, as long as the minions are going to tank something, as minions prioritize the minions first. So as long as they are within a range of a minion, they'll prioritize the minion. Continuing through this game, as Imperius does scale good into the late portion of the game, so you have your hard stun, you're very good at level 1, and then you kind of start to taper off in the middle portion of the game, especially, once again, if you're missing your abilities. So sad when you miss your spells. I should check what he went at level 1. Landing a stun. Good damage by my allies, so we're able to pick up a kill. We need to kill one of these buildings, though, because we have both of them peppered decently, but neither of them have fallen. Another thing Imperius is pretty bad at is surviving ganks. If you get caught out of position, you can most certainly get wrecked by enemy heroes. I'm going to go ahead and base to start dealing with the Nazebo, as I do believe if he keeps pushing, he'll get a lot of value. Looks like he backed out, so I'll ping retreat for my allies and try to give us that experience lead. You can see we have a big experience lead for my allies, but it has not been due to soaking. It's been due to us having high amount of hero picks and kills. This is, once again, our fantastic wave clear. And you want to be making sure to pick up as many regen globes as possible, because that's going to give you some sort of sustain for your mana bar, as you have decent sustain just as a hero in general. I meant to check what their Imperius is building. All right, he's building into his trait. Ping, that we're on our way. And hopefully be able to help my allies out with another gank, which we are fantastic at. Ganking heroes is good. Try to land up multiple abilities, but I really don't want to get hit by any shenanigans from red team. Wow. He used his unstoppable at the last second. We'll try to grab their Imperius and throw him into our base. And I'm going to need a sippy cup here because I am pretty low on HP. We both pressed E, but his went off a little quicker than mine, unfortunately. Or we both pressed Q. We did have to tap during that engagement, which is kind of sad, but not the end of the world. And I would love to hit level 16, but we really only get that off of hero kills. There we go, finally landing something on this guy. Huge stun by my Murden will get us the big pick that we need. And now I need to be protecting my objective from these enemies. So we're going to play kind of like that main tank, like I mentioned before, and create space for my allies. There's a follow-up stun and really good ice block by red team, unfortunately. But we're able to pick up a kill on the Nazebo. And now I want to look for Junkrat, who might be rotating down right through this area. As we saw the intel, he took that camp in the top lane just a minute ago. Level 16 is rapidly approaching. So I want to be ready to pick my talent. There we go. Now we have the capabilities to melt these squishy heroes and tanky heroes alike if we land our spells on them. Specifically landing our E. Looks like friendly team is going to have that no problem, so we got to rotate down here and defend against this push from the low-mana'd Anubarak. Waiting for him to use his movement spell so I can catch up to him. And you can see that Anubarak got blown up just like as if I was playing a Smash Varian, because we are like playing a Smash Varian with our abilities. Enemy team doing a much better job this entire game of pushing down buildings whenever available. We're going to do our best to try and slow that down though now. We do catch this Dahaka. Unfortunately, he picked up the globe before me. We'll land the stun on him and crit him into the abyss. Low enough on mana now that I can base out. There's nothing much that we can do, but finally, for the first time in this game, we are ahead on XP. I don't know why I pressed my abilities like that. I meant to hold down control and do it, so it would bring up the indicator. There we go. We'll base out now. And stay nice and healthy. Big push by that objective in the top lane, so we now have more buildings than them, which is what we'd love to see. Now it's just making sure the rest of our lanes stay clean. And look at the hero damage. We're pumping it out. So is their Imperius, despite him dying a lot more than I. Let's see if we can't land something from my allies here. Landing and following up on the stun from my Muradin player, which is really good. Unfortunately, I don't even think we can crit him down in time. Oh, I didn't think he had that back up. We're getting pushed down rather quickly. This needs defended, so I gotta ping them on my way there. I'm kind of hoping that the Zagara would be able to deal with him a little bit more, because we have no good movement of getting across the map, and once we get across the map, we have no good way of clearing these lanes out. So it's a pretty common theme of just do your best to cover for your team, because that is the rule as the bruiser. If you're picking Imperius, you are picking him with the caveat that I understand I have to clean the lanes for my allies whenever bad things happen, such as the enemy team mindlessly pushing down our buildings. But the trade-off is that you bring such a strong teamfight presence for your allies that it shouldn't matter too much. Kind of hoping to catch that Imperius or Anubarak in a weird spot. I keep pressing my spells at a terrible time. We'll blame it on lag, sure. And huge damage by my allies there. We're able to get the pick on their Imperius, and now that he's dead, I really don't have much to fear in general. Good damage and stuns, though, by the enemies, and we're immediately pressing B because we have to defend this, because nobody has gone bottom or top lane in a little bit of time for our ally team, while during that whole team fight they had the Junkrat split pushing, using his ult, and playing like an empowered minion, but it's going to get him this building captured despite us coming down and doing our very best to defend it. I don't think we'll have quite enough to do that, and we do lose a keep in this game, which is really bad, especially considering we're playing a hero who lacks wave clear. Now level 20 is rapidly approaching, and we get probably our biggest power spike at level 20 in almost any build that you go. This will be your biggest power spike. I'll defend, picking up a nice stun on the Nazebo, and huge damage out there on him as well. See if I can't land some more spells. Big crit to finish him off, and now with those two picks, I'm hoping I'll be able to defend against any enemies that come our way. And there we go, picking up the brand, the crit brand, making sure that we can dodge out any of these enemy spells possible, as we're trying to protect this building for my ally here. Huge damage, really pummeling these enemy heroes. I'm gonna land a ultimate on these enemies, and we were able to capture the objective due to our fantastic fantastic defense between Muradin and myself. Objective is coming down here. I don't have my sippy cup up, but I kind of need to fight with my allies to get this objective really pushing. So I could either heal up off of regen globes, or I could go top lane and defend against that. I think we'll heal up off of regen globes and other things and hope that this lane is able to push itself out neatly for the next few moments. Trying to come in and look for any stun we can land on these enemies. Following up off of my allies. Unfortunately, I hit the Anubrak as he hit his movement ability and taking a lot of damage from Junkrat's balanced ability there. Building getting lower and lower, and that's all we're trying to do is just peel from my allies like a main tank and make sure that we are able to huge stuns here on these enemy heroes. Will land a follow-up stun, and that will be the death of their Imperius and possibly allow us to end this video game. But playing like a main tank, following up for my allies when they need it, and peeling for them when they need it. Hopefully we'll be able to land one more stun on the very low, very low enemy team. We'll press our R button, press our Q. That'll finish off the rest of these enemy heroes and enable us to finish out this video game. So a very unique playstyle for a bruiser. The cigar is crazy. But we're able to play to our strengths to annihilate these enemy heroes, absolutely blowing out all these other heroes in hero damage. But you check our wave clear, we're second worst on the team. That's very bad for a bruiser. Your wave clear is something that's super important for a bruiser in general. Of course, though, we're able to make up for that lacking department with, like I said, our huge stuns, reducing enemies' armor, and able to pick up so many kills off of that playstyle that it makes him a very strong and threatening pick. When you're playing Imperius, you are super threatening to the enemy team and make them always be like, I gotta be dodging Imperius' spear or I'm going to die. So it adds that extra layer, like when you're playing against the Stitches. I have to be constantly in the back of my head thinking about, am I positioning properly to dodge this hook? And when you're thinking about that, you're thinking less about landing the damaging abilities you need to win the game. And that's how you make the enemy team play when you're playing an Imperius. So the build that we went in today's video is the build I personally like going to most of my games. It's really committing to that play style of we're not going to worry about our wave clear in this game. We're going to worry about the damage that we can deal and just play to our strengths. Really just double down on this stun lock tanky playstyle. So at level 1, we go for Impaling Light. So your Q's final damage is increased by 75%, and this is the big portion of it. Its cooldown is reduced by 1.25 seconds for each Valorous brand on the target when the stun completes. Which means if you're stunning heroes with a lot of your brands activated, you're going to deal so much damage. And if you notice, I had a mini combo going on where I press W and then Q, and then as Q's activated, I have my E running. So the single enemy is getting hit with all three instances of my Valorous brand, which is my trait, and we're able to get that high yield cooldown reduction. I then went for Sovereign Armor because this is where you gain that tankiness. Without this talent, you don't become super tanky. You're still a pretty tanky hero just due to the nature of your kit, but with this talent, you become extra tanky. And what it is Molten Armor grants 20 armor for 1.5 seconds. Damaging an enemy hero with your Molten Armor increases the duration of this by half a second. So you can have this 20 armor activated at a time, up and running pretty often with this talent. I then go for Flash of Anger, so consuming a mark of your Q deals bonus damage of 150 to the target and to nearby enemies, so you're now dealing splash damage, and this is the big portion of it. You gain a 250 point shield for 4 seconds when this happens, which makes you so tanky after landing a Q on an enemy hero, giving you, once again, that survivability that is kind of needed when you're playing Imperius and you're stun locked after your Q. I then go for Wrath of the Imperius, and there's two reasons. Both his ults are good, but I go this one in every game. I only go the Angelic Arguments whenever I need to be a little bit more tanky, but that's not very often. And Wrath of the Imperius opens up one of the best level 20s in the game. We didn't go that level 20 in today's video, but it is one of the best level 20s in the game that you can definitely go. And you go from, you know, a very strong hero to a raid boss. And it's very fun with this talent. I'll showcase that when I'm done talking about this build. So we then go for Heat of Battle. So it increases the heal that you heal off of your E whenever you're low on HP, meaning you have a deceptive amount of life, especially at low HP, when you consider the armor you're getting from pressing your E and the healing you're getting from having your E activated and dealing damage. And then we go for Melting Touch. This is where you become the Smash Taunt variant combo, and it enables not just you but your allies to rip through these enemy heroes. So Melting Touch, consuming a Molten Armor mark, one of your trait marks, reduces the target's armor by 25% for 4 seconds. That is so strong of an ability. 4 seconds is very long. They could buff this down to 2 seconds and it would still be a viable pick. And whenever you combo this with our level 20, you will see why this build is as strong as it is. So, Brand of Solaron. Reduce the duration of your brand to 5 seconds. That sounds bad. However, it no longer is consumed when you auto-attack someone. So, if you have 3 stacks of your trait on an enemy hero, you can just pummel them with 5 auto attacks before it disappears. And then it will disappear after that. But by then, you should have your cooldowns pretty much back up with the cooldown reduction you're getting from Impaling Light. It's just such a strong build and so much fun to play. So we're going to go ahead and talk about some other ways you can build this hero. So at level 7, Holy Fervor. This is the talent you go if you need a little bit more wave clear. And it's also good if you are going into a bunch of melee targets, as it can help you get your mark spread out, and comes really good with the level 20 talent upgrade, which is Unrelenting Descent. This is one of the most overtuned level 20s in the entire game, and if you ever play ARAM and get Imperius, I highly recommend going this talent because it's a lot of fun. So Descending from the Heavens with your ultimate ability, Wrath of the Angirius, restores 30% of Imperius's maximum health and mana. Consuming a Valorous brand reduces the cooldown of Wrath of the Angirius by 10 seconds, meaning you're able to have a 30% maximum HP and mana heal up off cooldown almost every 10 seconds. It's so good. And it also adds more lockdown to enemy heroes. One last talent I like to shout out. If you're getting kited and you need to stick to enemy heroes a little bit better, Valorous Pursuit is a very strong talent, which allows you to do just that. So you activate to teleport to an enemy that has been marked by your Valorous brand, and you gain 25 armor for 3 seconds. It's just very good at hopping onto enemy heroes and making them be confused as to where you're at. Anyways, that was how to Bruise Imperius. I hope you guys did enjoy today's video. Please let me know down in the comments what you thought. Leave a like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye-bye.